Welcome back to this channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to replace your old habits with new ones. Human beings are creatures of habit, right? Once we do something one time, we're very, very prone to repeating that same behavior, especially if we received a good amount of pleasure from taking that specific action. Say, for example, you notice people respond to you positively when you make a specific joke, right? It's going to become a habit to joke around in that same playful manner the next time you're looking for that. What I'm here to do today is to help you realize why you perform your habits the way you do, and to give you the capability to have control over your habits, right? Because if you have control over your habits, you can now control the individual you become, right? Because our identity is made up of a few different things. One's going to be our desires, our goals, our motivations. Number two is going to be our personality, the way we interact with people and interact with ourselves. And the third is going to be the things we practice daily that make us who we are. And most of these things, all of these things, are habits. Unless you're a spontaneous individual who never does the same thing every day and has the amount of money to afford never doing the same thing every day. But you're still gonna brush your teeth, you know what I mean? And you're still gonna drink water and eat at around the same times. So this is inescapable.
Wisdom is power. With great power comes great responsibility.
And that responsibility falls on you as the viewer to use your due diligence once you have this information to create your ideal character, because that's what you are. You're no more than a video game character in a game. Once you wake up, you realize, oh wow, I'm a character in the game. I'm a player in this game. I can customize this reality and customize my body and customize who I am to become who I want to be, right? The allegory of the cave, Plato. In the allegory of the cave, it depicts people looking at these shadows on the wall and thinking that this is the way the world is. But these people, once they discover that there's an opening to the cave and they leave the cave and they discover the real world, they start developing their own opinions, their own viewpoints, their own logical perceptions of how reality is and how they can interact with it fluidly. As the people we are, as human beings, we are born into this world given a name, giving a religion or not giving a religion, and from there forward we progress and we face reality with those perspectives that are early influences. But there is a need to realize and stop for a moment that these habits I practice may just be what I practice because that's what I grew up around. These beliefs about myself that I hold may just be held because the people around me held these same beliefs. The way I look at reality as a whole, the limitations I put on myself may just be held because the people I grew up around limited themselves the exact same way. That is why I'm here. To help you realize that you can change these habits of belief. You can change these addictions and negative habits that you want to get rid of, these vices that you're not proud of. And all of that's going to be using this cycle right here called the habit cycle. James Clear made this in his book Atomic Habits. You should definitely read that. Let's start with the cue. The cue is going to be the event that signifies you taking action. Right. The cue is going to be something that draws in your attention. Say, for example, your parent yells at you. Depending on what style of relationship you have growing up, you're going to react a certain way, and most likely the way you've always reacted. I know that if my mom yelled at me, I was going to instantly freeze up in fear and think about what I just did that caused her to get so out of character. You know what I mean? That's because she was a good woman. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't yelling at me for no reason. So I know that if she was yelling at me, there was something going on most likely, 9 times out of 10. That's the cue. Me being yelled at in the situation. After the cue comes the craving. The craving is going to be the newfound desire to perform something you've performed before. Say, for example, you're a recovering alcoholic, right? You're good, you don't need any alcohol, you don't buy alcohol, you don't hang around people who drink alcohol. But one day, you go to an event, and one of the people you meet there who you're networking with says, have a drink with me, right? You're going to see the cue, right? Them offering to have a drink with you. You're going to feel the craving, the desire to fall back into that habit and take a part in it. And this craving stage is what motivates us towards action. You see, in the craving stage, our mind starts to make us feel how good it's going to be to take part in what we're taking part in, right? This stage is where we experience the dopamine of anticipation, because there's two kinds of dopamine responses we have that motivate us as humans. It's going to be the dopamine of completion, right? The dopamine we get upon achieving a goal or achieving something that we've wanted so hard and worked for. And there's going to be the dopamine of anticipation, right? This dopamine of anticipation is what motivates us towards action. It's what has you laying up at night awake just thinking, wow, I can't wait till I get this. I can't wait till I have this. I can't wait until this becomes a part of my reality. We need both of them, right? Because if we didn't have the dopamine of anticipation, we'd never move towards our goals. If we didn't have the dopamine of completion, we would never feel any form of satisfaction once we achieved our goals. Oh yeah. So back to the alcoholic example. So that's when this dude experiences the craving. He's getting the dopamine of anticipation right now. And he's thinking, wow, this would be like so good to try. And then his mind's gonna start justifying it, right? His mind's gonna be like, dude, you've been sober for so long, man. Come on. Just let it be. It's not that big a deal. It's one time. Come on, man. You've been working hard, haven't you? And this is what your mind's gonna do, because your mind's wiring itself and hardwiring you to get that dopamine, right? To get that dopamine of fulfillment. That's the stage of craving. And this is where the damage really takes place. I'll get into how to get rid of the cravings in a bit, right? But next up is going to be the stage of response. It's going to be the response. Your response would be, in this situation, drinking that alcohol, moving towards the alcohol, picking that up and taking a sip of that glass. That's the response in the situation. Say, for example, you just get dumped and you get broken up with. Most people in our society are going to look out somebody new to replace that person because it'll feel good, right? They have the craving for that person and they're trying to fill that void with something else, with someone else. This is what they mean by trauma responses. If you've ever had a traumatic instance in your life and you have a way of coping with that, it's purely out of habit, right? And this is that stage in which that occurs, that response, right? You're gonna take action to get what you want. And then lastly, you're gonna get rewarded. This is where you feel the joy of whatever you were about to do or whatever you were thinking about doing in its fullest, right? This is where that happens. You just get, you just feel that, right? You feel that traveling up your nervous system. Now, the cycle repeats. Your mom gets angry at you. You get another cue. Somebody brings alcohol in front of you. You get another cue. Someone breaks up with you again. You get another cue. And the cycle repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. And this is how we form every single habit. And the more times you practice this habit, the more deeply lodged within your subconscious mind it becomes, and the more of an emotional attachment we develop to said process of acting. Now, how can we get rid of our old habits? The easiest way is going to be to replace them. It's to replace these habits with something else. If you have a habit you are not fond of, if you don't care, if you are watching something that you don't believe you should be watching, the easiest way to get rid of that is to replace it with something productive or something better for you. If you have a porn addiction, for example, right? The easiest way to get rid of that addiction is to find a form of entertainment you enjoy that is more fulfilling and better for you. That's the easiest way to do it. And eventually you just forget about that and you'll have enough control to not do that, right? If you're feeling withdrawals of any kind, drop down on the floor and start doing some push-ups. I'm sure after you do those push-ups, you won't want to do that again. You know what I mean? Because you'll feel so much of a dopamine rush, it'll be unnecessary, to be quite honest. Now, in this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, he said, the way to get rid of your habits is to make them unappealing. If you are prone to sleeping with partners excessively, the easiest way to get rid of that habit is to make the thought of that unappealing. Start to view your body as a temple of some kind, right? A castle of some kind even. And think about how many people actually get to go into the castle. If your body is a castle, only the best are able to obtain entry. What I was doing before was disgusting. Should be your viewpoint. What I was doing before was lowering my own value. Should be your viewpoint. And now that you view it like this, that doesn't seem as appealing anymore, does it? You need to train yourself to view all of your habits all of your bad habits as uncomfortable to do, as negative, right? When you're caught in that moment where you've seen the cue and now you have the craving and you're in the middle of taking action and responding, this is the point in time where you start thinking about all of the negative emotions this habit is going to bring you. That's exactly what you do. And you won't want to do it anymore, right? Sleeping around, for example. You'll start to think about all of the negative emotions, all of the time wasted, all of the disagreements and arguments that you had to go through, all of the money wasted on people you don't even have in your life anymore, for example. But it's that easy. It's not going to be easy in the beginning, right? Because we need to build up momentum. The fact that you're trying to change your habits means you're trying to change your reality and your identity, because who you are is dictated by the things you do habitually, right? So for you to become a new person, you have to realize that this person needs to become strong. They're weak right now. This new version of you that you're idolizing, that you want to become, needs to build up momentum, right? Their habits, their thoughts need to gain electricity and magnetism. It will get easier as you go. Practice something once, practice something twice. It starts to become a new habit. The more you practice it, it'll become a habit. If you keep thinking about the negative things that are going to happen if you do this negative thing or this habit you want to get rid of, and you keep thinking about that uncomfortable feeling it always seems to leave you with, more and more and more you think about it more and more and more, and what's going to happen is eventually all you'll be able to think about is a negative feeling. You see, because the craving is going to switch. The craving that was going to be you wanting to drink alcohol, for example, is going to switch to the craving of not drinking alcohol, because the new habit is you saying no to alcohol. And that's the new habit you've built. So at the end of the day, you're always going to be replacing your habits with new ones. If you have a pornography addiction, you're replacing your habit with saying no to pornography. You're replacing saying yes to this with saying no to this. And it's that simple, but you have to build it up. It's not going to happen in one day. And believing it's going to happen in one day is just going to make you more angry and upset at yourself. You need to realize it takes time. 1% better every day. And eventually, the new you, right? The new habit you've built will be stronger than the old habit you've built. It will naturally be mentally stronger. and able to say no to things that you once used to say yes to. All right. Damn, this was a banger. I didn't even mean to go too far. If you like this video, leave a like. And if you like this video, I'm happy I was able to be of service to you.